Alright, this week we are going to be talking about angles with parallel lines. So we're going to be taking some of your knowledge from the previous 2 weeks and then applying it with parallel lines. So the first thing we want to talk about is what are parallel lines. And they are lines with the same slope, okay, which really means they never intersect. Okay, so if we saw these two lines, let's name them M and N. Okay. If they're parallel, the way that you'll see it written out is M, and then you'll see two little parallel lines, and N. That means M is parallel to N. And the other thing you might see is like little arrows or triangles on the lines. Okay, these arrows or these triangles mean that these two lines are parallel to each other. Right, this has one triangle and this has one triangle. Okay, so anytime you see lines that have the same amount of triangles or arrows on them, then that means that the lines are parallel. Okay. Next we have something known as a transversal. And a transversal is a line that intersects parallel lines. So if we have, let's say we still are talking about M and N, and let's say these lines are parallel. And then we have let's say this line is P. Okay, this line P is going through it. Right, so that is going to be a transversal. And so this line here is our transversal. It's crossing over those parallel lines. And you might notice once it crosses over, it creates different angles. So let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So these different angles have different relationships to each other. Right, we're going to talk about 4 different relationships. Okay, the first one is going to be alternate interior. And those are opposite angles inside parallel lines. So when we're looking at this, we have our 2 parallel lines here. Right, so everything in between them, right, those are going to be our interior angles. Okay, and then the ones that are opposite each other are going to be alternate. So when we have alternate interior, we're looking at 3, because 3 is inside these parallel lines. Right, the one opposite that is 6. So angle 3 and angle 6. And then 4 and 5. Right, and something that we know about these is they are always congruent. So whatever angle 3 is, angle 6 is going to be the exact same thing. And whatever 4 is, angle 5 is going to be the exact same thing. Okay, and then if you look at 3 and 4, right, notice those are a linear pair, which is something that we've talked about the past couple weeks. Right, so two are a linear pair, and those are congruent. Next up we have alternate exterior, which is going to be opposite angles outside the parallel lines. It's the same concept as before, but now we're not looking here, right? We're going to be looking on the outside of these parallel lines. So we're going to have angle 1 and the one opposite that is angle 8, and then 2 and 7. And just like our interior ones, these are always congruent. Next up we have corresponding. And these are angles that are in the same spot. So what we mean by same spot is if we're looking at this set of angles, say angle 1, okay, notice out of these 4 options it's in the top left. So its corresponding angle, when we look at these options, we want the one that's in the same spot, so the top left. 1 and angle 5 are corresponding because they're both in the same spot. They're both in the top left place. So then if we look at angle 2, right, angle 2 is on the top right of these, and the top right is going to be angle 6. So angle 2 and angle 6. Then we look at 3, which is in the bottom left of that section, so bottom left here is going to be angle 7. And then notice last we have 4 in the bottom right, and then 8 in the bottom right. Okay, so we have 4 sets of corresponding angles, right? And these are always congruent. So 1 and 5 are going to be the exact same measure. Right? And then, like we said earlier, okay, 1 and 8 are the same measure. Okay. But also 5 and 4. So then we end up with these 4 angles all being equal to each other. Right? And then these 4 angles are all going to be equal to each other. And we'll see that in a picture in just a minute. And then the last one that we have is consecutive. And those are angles on the side. And then have exterior, anterior. Okay, so consecutive exterior angles that are on the same side outside the parallel. Outside of parallel lines, right? And then on the same sides. 1 and 7 both left hand sides. Those are called consecutive exterior angles because they're on the same side of the period on the left. Both on the left, they're both on the right, and if they're exterior, that means they're outside the parallels. And then we have consecutive interior. Right, which is same side but inside, so 3 on the same side as 5, and then 4 and 6. And these are always supplementary. we'll do an example. Okay, so let's say that these are parallel lines, and let's say angle 1 is 120 degrees, and we want to find all other angles. So one easy thing to do is make a chart so we can keep up with everything that we know. So we know that angle 1 is 120 degrees. Okay. Well, when we're looking at this example, right, I'm going to highlight everything that's congruent to angle 1 in pink. Well, first off, we know that 1 and 4, remember, those are vertical angles. Okay, so that means that they have to be congruent. Okay. Then looking at our options over here on the left, right, the alternate exterior angle to 1 means the opposite angle outside. So 1 and 8 are alternate exterior angles, right? And we know that that means they are congruent. Well, then 1 and 5 are both in kind of the left legs, right? So they're both responding, which means they're congruent. So from that, we know that 1, 4, 5, 8 are all the exact same measure. So now we're going to figure out 2. Well, 1, 2 are linear. So angle 2 I to add to 100 degrees. Or that angle 120 degrees. Which means that angle 2 has to be 60. And angle 2 is vertical, which we remember from a couple of weeks ago, means that they're congruent. Angle 2 and angle C are all exteriors, because they're opposite side outside, which means they're congruent. And then 2 and 6 are responding, they're congruent. So 2, 3, and 7 all have the center of 60 degrees. And then last time we talked about was consecutive, and we don't have to use that much, but 3 and 5 consecutive interior. Look at 3 is 80 degrees, 5 is 120. Okay, supplement, and you can see that they do add to 180 degrees.